Yes, the Democrat mayor of the city of Philadelphia trying to spell the word Eagles and failing quite miserably. E-G-L-S-E-S, E-G-L-S-E-S, Iglesias, Democrat. You know, about 50% of the population of Philadelphia, the adult population, is functionally illiterate, and the mayor is among them. Never mind that she has a postgraduate degree from an Ivy League college. Postgraduate degree, Ivy League college. The Ivy Leagues are just not what they used to be, that's for sure. But she's a Democrat, so it doesn't matter. She won't get the Dan Quayle treatment, that's for sure. And I'd like to see the, what is it, the ELGSES? Like to see them lose to the Washington Commanders this weekend. You know, the Commanders, spelled R-E-D-S-K-I-N-S. That's how you spell Commanders, right? Commanders, R-E-D-S-K-I-N-S. Commanders. Yay, go Commanders. R-E-D-S-K-I-N-S. And there she is, E-L-G-S-E-S for Eagles. She's the mayor. Pretty amazing times we live in. She's a Democrat and a WOC, so no criticism is acceptable. Pretty remarkable stuff. Now, let me get to this crook, who is widely known as Penitentiary Face Brennan. And he's known as Penitentiary Face Brennan because his face looks like it belongs in a penitentiary. Now, John Brennan famously voted communist. He literally bragged for years about voting for the Communist Party candidate for president of the United States. The forever Communist Party candidate for president in the United States was a guy named Gus Hall. And John Brennan, believe it or not, was a young man once, his face aside, but he voted for Gus Hall, the Communist Party candidate. Then he went to work at the CIA, undoubtedly to undermine the United States of America as a communist double agent. And he rose through the ranks because the bureaucracy is a stupid place. And then he left, and Barack Obama brought him back because he found out that he voted for the Communist Party candidate for president, no doubt. And Barack Obama had been mentored by Frank Marshall Davis, a leading member of the Communist Party in the United States of America. When Barack Obama was a teenager, his mentor was a Communist Party member, Frank Marshall Davis. He met John Brennan and said, well, you're a communist, I'm a communist, we're fellow travelers. We hate the world. We would kill everybody in it and destroy America. I should make you director of the CIA. And then John Brennan, director of the CIA because of their communist ties, Barack Obama and Penitentiary Face Brennan. Then it was actually our our now former Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, who was with the Biden campaign in 2020, who started making phone calls to intelligence community people and convinced them to write a letter that was a disinformation letter. And they launched a disinformation campaign against the American people in an effort to steal the election for Joe Biden and steal it from Donald Trump in 2020. And they were successful. Joe Biden won with a record number of votes that still no one has explained. Joe Biden getting millions and millions more votes than Hillary Clinton had gotten 4 years prior, and millions and millions and millions more votes than Barack Obama had gotten from the Democrats years earlier, right? And the news media didn't see anything fishy about any of this. This is all fine. Now, the criminals, the 51 so-called intelligence officials, like John Brennan and the others, 50 more, including Dana Bash's ex-husband, who wasn't really an intelligence official at all, but they pawned him off as one because he got a political job at CIA as a gatekeeper, and that's it. But never mind that. They published this letter, and after the election, when Joe Biden won, polls showed, when it became clear that the Hunter Biden laptop was real and all the emails were genuine and authentic, not like John Brennan and the 51 intelligence officials said. They all lied to us. They ran this this disinformation campaign against us, the kind of thing they might do in a foreign country, in a beep-hole country in Africa or someplace, to tamper with the election there. And they brought their skills to the United States, and they tampered in our election. They corrupted our 2020 election, and they should be held criminally culpable for it, particularly the leaders in all of this. Now, this letter came out in 2020, and it was all a lie. It was all a lie. And when it came out, I was on the radio when it came out, and I think Michael brought it to my attention, said, look at this, these intelligence people. I read it live on the air, and I caught them in their lies the first time I read through it. I read it aloud to you, and I caught them in their lies and their weasel words, having covered the intelligence community for a decade and the U.S. military for a decade. I tend to be a little skeptical when it comes to the use of language and words, and I recognize weasels, and John Brennan is a weasel and a communist. So the headlines that came out after the Felonious 51 put their letter out, like Politico, the left-wingers at Politico with their headline, Hunter Biden's story is Russian disinfo, comma, dozens of former intel officials say. And that was the operation to get the headlines that said that the intelligence officials said that the Hunter Biden laptop reporting by the New York Post, which was all 100% true and accurate, was in fact Russian disinformation. And you remember they were doing that Russian collusion hoax. And this was a continuation of that, right? More than 50 former senior intelligence officials have signed onto a letter outlining their belief that the recent disclosure of emails allegedly belonging to Hunter Biden, allegedly, has all the classic earmarks of a Russian information operation. And that's the quote in the Politico there. More than 50 former senior intelligence officials signed on to a letter outlining their belief, recent disclosure, Russian information operation. Now, John Brennan went on MSNBC, and now President Trump stripped the 51 of their security clearances, which is key to getting the high-paying jobs that they get after they leave government service, so they can buy airplanes and get their big fancy corner offices from Megacorp and all that stuff. Now, the letter signed on Monday back in 2020 centers around a batch of documents released by the New York Post last week that purport to tie the Democratic nominee to his son Hunter's business dealings. And they were tied together, and it was all true. Under the banner headline, Biden secret emails, the New York Post reported it was given a copy of Hunter Biden's laptop hard drive by President Donald Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, who they're trying to put in prison for all this because they're communists, who said he got it from a Mac shop owner in Delaware, who also alerted the FBI. Now, the signatories of the letter presented no new evidence. They said their national security experience had made them deeply suspicious that the Russian government played a significant role in this case. Right? If we are right, this is Russia trying to influence how Americans vote in this election, and we believe strongly that Americans need to be aware of this. In reality, of course, it was the American intelligence officials tampering in our election, as the Russians and the Chinese might be expected to do, but these communists did that to the American people. Neil Shapiro, a former, in case you still think it's ambiguous, Neil Shapiro, a former top aide under CIA Director John Brennan, provided Politico with the letter on Monday. He noted that, quote, the intelligence community leaders who have signed this letter worked for the past 4 presidents, including Trump. See, that makes them legitimate, right? The real power here, however, is the number of former working-level intelligence community officers who wanted the American people to know that, once again, the Russians are interfering. Now, in reality, it was our own intelligence community interfering criminally in our election, and not the Russians, But they were trying to blame everything on the Russians then because Trump and Russian collusion, it was all a hoax, it was all a lie, it was all a fraud perpetrated by criminals tampering in our election. And they won. Joe Biden won. And so these criminals have now had their, and I've been talking about them for years, the Felonious 51 and how they tampered with our election, and it was an information operation run against the American people by them, and they were successful in corrupting our presidential election. And they used all this weasel language, and like this creep, Neil Shapiro, saying they want the American people to know once again the Russians are interfering. No, John Brennan is the Russian here, all right? He's the communist here. And now here is John Penitentiary-Faced Brennan yesterday on MSDNC talking to Andrea Mitchell. Oh, poor John. That mean Donald Trump has stripped your security clearance, so your income level is you're gonna be a greeter at Walmart now instead of a big corporate executive. And the people at Walmart shouldn't trust you either because you'll lie to them, deceive them, and steal from them, I expect. You know, John Brennan on MSDNC yesterday complaining about losing his security clearance, and the fake news media and the fake journalist Andrea Mitchell pretending that this is a real bad thing.
He misrepresented the facts in that executive order because it said that we had suggested that the Hunter Biden laptop story was Russian disinformation. No, we said it was for the hallmarks of Russian information operations, including the dumping of accurate information, which is what we said in that letter.
Well, all good propaganda has elements of things that are true so in order to convince you of the things that are false. And the executive order says it was Russian misinformation. No, we said it was a Russian information operation. Well, what do we normally think of Russian information operations as being like journalism and just pure truth? No, it's a Russian information operation is always a disinformation operation or a misinformation operation. You moron, you liar, you criminal, you penitentiary face. And Andrea Mitchell sits there nodding in agreement, and just amazing that these people are still getting away with it all these years later. And we have a news media that is so filthy, so corrupt, so sullied and soiled by their corruption that they just sit there and nod when these people, these government officials, lie to them.
So again, this was just, his effort to try to get back at those individuals who have criticized him openly and publicly in the past, and I think very legitimately.
You didn't criticize him openly in this letter. You made a false claim that this had all the earmarks, and then he says hallmarks. He doesn't even know what words he used. I corrected him when I first heard this video this morning. And I said, well, no, you didn't say hallmarks. You said earmarks and on and on. Now, these people are criminals. They tampered with our presidential election, successfully so. And they lied to the American people. And now he's dancing on the head of a pin over here and claiming that it's just a semantic issue. Oh, we didn't say misinformation or disinformation. We said it was a Russian information operation. And it had all the earmarks of a Russian operation. And then all the headlines were, and again, all the headlines were just what they wanted them to be, because they sleep with these fake reporters, too. Everybody's headline was the same, that 51 intelligence officials say Hunter Biden laptop reporting is Russian misinformation or Russian disinformation. The Politico headline, Hunter Biden story is Russian disinfo. All right, and that's what it was everywhere. And then they get quotes from people saying, oh, we thought you should know that it's Russian, it's a Russian operation, it's Russian disinformation. And now Brennan is going on with the ignorant anchor woman, Andrea Mitchell, and saying, oh, no, we didn't say it was Russian information, just Russian information operation. And they still get away with it because journalism is not what it's supposed to be in the United States of America. The Fourth Estate is a free and fair press, is a brilliant idea in theory, but in practice, it's the most corrupt institution in the United States of America. And Brennan is out there, oh, no, it's not what we said. The language is wrong in President Trump's executive order stripping you of your security clearances because we didn't say miss or dis, we just said Russian information operation. Yeah, knowing what all the headlines would be, and then you fed your people to them to give quotes, which I just read from, making it clear that you were running a disinformation operation against us in an effort to get Joe Biden elected, and you got Joe Biden elected, and you should be in a penitentiary for a lot longer than Enrique Tarrio was sentenced, and he was sentenced to 22 years. You grotesque, corrupt, dishonest, Communist Party voting Democrat, right?
There are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant. Nobody believes it except his and his good friend Rudy Giuliani.
Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris.
It said that we had suggested that the Hunter Biden laptop story was Russian disinformation. No, we said it was for the hallmarks of Russian information operations.
Ah, that makes all the difference in the world. If you're a career criminal, which John Brennan, I believe, is. And by the way, the New York Post, a real newspaper, unlike so many that call themselves newspapers, reported in 2023, June 22nd of 2023, that the FBI had verified the authenticity of Hunter Biden's abandoned laptop back in November of 2019, according to IRS whistleblowers who were inside the loop and in the room. And so the FBI and FBI Director Christopher Wray in December of 2020 saw that intelligence letter come out. And did he step up and say, well, wait a minute, we know that laptop is real and that the emails are real and that it's really Hunter Biden's laptop, but the FBI sat on that information. Christopher Wray should be looking at 22 years in prison. He could share a cell with penitentiary face Brennan. They could become friends. But the FBI verified the authenticity of Hunter Biden's abandoned laptop November of 2019. And a federal computer expert assessed that it was not manipulated in any way. The IRS supervisory agent, Gary Shepley, told Congress in explosive testimony. And so the FBI knew. And John Brennan is a pathological liar and a criminal who tampered with and probably changed the outcome of the presidential election of 2020, stealing it from President Trump by corrupting the election. And Andrea Mitchell, doing the interview, did she say to Brennan, but it turned out the laptop was all real, right? No, she didn't say that. Why not? The Democrats still don't know how many genders there are. They've got a lot of problems with gender. Now, many of you were with me last week when I spoke on the phone to one of our great and wonderful listeners, John from Gainesville, Virginia, who called in to say that he had tickets to go to and planned to go to at least one inaugural ball, and that his 16-year-old son was going to go with him, too. Very excited to go to the inaugural ball. But John's best girl, with whom he has been involved for 9 years, if I remember all of this correctly, and John said that his girlfriend is a Trump hater, and this created a very difficult circumstance for John. Should he go to the inaugural ball or not? And what are the trade-offs there? And we had a great conversation, John and I. And I asked John last week, well, listen, after the inauguration's over and after the inaugural balls are over, please call back in and tell me what you decided to do, how it went, and how your best girl is responding, provided you let her know that you were going to the inaugural balls. And so we should have trumpets, I think, with great fanfare. I welcome back to our humble radio broadcast John from Gainesville for the update that we've all been clamoring for. John, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris. Good morning. How you doing? I don't know if you can hear me. I got you on my AirPods, so if you can't hear me, let me know. I'll switch over to the phone.
I can hear you just fine right now.
Thanks for taking my call, and I just want to let everybody know that we did go to the ball. We did attend. We had a great time. President Trump didn't come to that particular ball, but we did meet Colonel Allen West. We met Roger Stone. We got some really good pictures and had some really good food and danced and just had a really good time. So, we did go, and I know, you were asking me to update you. So I apologize for not getting back to you right away. But everybody know, and you especially, that we did go, and we had a great time.
Well, we're all very busy, and I know everybody, because we got to pay taxes because the Democrats are counting on us and everything, but you met Allen West, Colonel Allen West, a great American. You met Roger Stone, who was ambushed and rounded up by the commie fascist Biden administration. And you said you were going to go to the ball, that your son, 16 years old, right, was also going and was very excited about going. And you said we. So when you say we, I assume, John, that you mean yourself and your son went to the ball.
Yes, he did. He's 18, but, 18. Yeah, he went. We went along together. Him, my other friend, who we got the tickets through his friend. So we all went, and his girlfriend went with us as well. So he had a date. So we had a great time. It was fun, and we got to celebrate Trump's inauguration, and it was a lot of fun, and glad I went. It wasn't exactly an easy conversation to have, but hey, sometimes they say if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So we went, and we had a great time.
Well, which ball was it that you attended?
It was the multicultural ball. It was so it wasn't the one of the ones that Trump went to, but it was still a great time. I mean, it would have been great to meet him, but hey, we got to meet some really great people, and it was just fun.
That's great. Now to the question, and you just made reference to your girlfriend of 9 years, right? And you're living together, right? And
right.
You believe that she would not approve at all, and she would respond very negatively to your telling her that you were going to the ball, or even that you had gone to the ball. But it sounds like you said it was a difficult discussion. You had the discussion before the ball. You explained to your best girl that you're going with your 18-year-old son and with friends, and you would appreciate it if she would just be nice about it.
Yeah, that's right. That's about the gist of it, and it pretty much went exactly the way I thought it would go. It was met with a lot of resistance, and it was not an easy conversation to have. It was exactly kind of how I thought it would go, and but still, hey, it is what it is. I made it known, and I'm not puffing my chest out, but it went pretty much exactly the way you would expect, telling a liberal person that you're going to go and celebrate, Trump becoming the president. So, nothing was not correct about that. So it definitely was a challenging situation. But hey, like I said, it was worth it. I'm glad I did it. And at the end of the day, I mean, look, has the world ended for the liberals? Has the world fallen apart? I mean, what has happened in the last couple of days that's so catastrophic that everybody's in all these like crazy states about what Trump's going to do to the country? He's going to tear it apart. It's going to fall apart. It's going to fall off the face of the earth. I mean, it just goes to show you the ridiculous stuff that they try to say to get people scared and divided. And, I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Now, you're 100% right, of course. I'm glad you had the conversation with your best girl. And now your relationship is none the worse for the wear. Is that correct?
Well, that's a different story. I mean, we haven't actually really spoken to each other since I told her on, what was that? I went on Monday. I told her Saturday night, and we haven't really spoken to each other since then. I mean, we're still in the same house, but we're kind of two ships passing the night right now. So, I mean, I don't really know I really don't know what to say. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's just, what am I supposed to say? I'm not going to apologize for going. I'm not going to be, sorry that I went. It's just, so yeah, that's kind of the situation we're in right now. It's kind of just, haven't really spoken to each other since then.
Yeah, I tell you, I got more response to your call last week from more people, and mixed reviews on whether you should pack a bag for her and show her the door, or whether you should stick it out because mixed marriages can work. But it depends on the individuals involved in mixed marriages. I actually had one woman, quite a famous woman, actually send me a picture of a lovely young woman and said, "Tell John we can get dates for him. We'll get dates from it." And also, you should know, just because I know a lot of people, I started getting texts about you, and because people recognized you on the air, and people that I know, and were texting me, and I'm not going to give away anything about you, but I learned a lot about you after the call and even during the call from people that know you. And so I've got like a whole dossier on you. I know things about your past and your history and things, and it's all positive, all great stuff, of course. Wonderful things. But there are people who want to, who want you to meet women that they know. And I don't want to encourage, the end of a relationship or anything by any stretch of the imagination, because I think mixed marriages can work. But I'm sorry to hear that you haven't spoken to each other since the conversation on Saturday. And the inauguration was on Monday, and the inaugural balls may have been Sunday, mostly Monday, and all that good stuff. They're actually Saturday, Sunday, and Monday inaugural balls. But gosh, I got to tell you, you got more reaction. I got more reaction about your phone call last week probably than any other call all week long. And people concerned about you and looking out for you, and want you to meet women that they know, and all kinds of fun stuff. So I would say that I hope that your relationship is a long, happy, and prosperous relationship, and that your best girl comes around to your way of thinking and to common sense and all that good stuff. And if it doesn't work out, call back again, and maybe I can set up a dating service.
Well, that sounds good, Chris. I will definitely keep that in mind. I do appreciate all your kind words and everything, and I'll definitely keep that in mind. And another thing I just want to add is I know there's some people out there that are saying this is a fake call, this isn't real, it's made up. I assure you that this is not something that I'm making up. I don't have the time or the energy or the inclination to make up an elaborate thing like this, just to get on the radio.
No, of course.
So,
no.
Everybody out there that thinks this is fake,
I
assure you it's not.
No, I can assure people that it's not, because I've been contacted by witnesses, and again, I can't give away names. It's all classified stuff, but I know I've confirmed it independently. And it's all 100% true. And hey, John, listen, buddy. I'm glad you went. I'm glad that your 18-year-old son went, and friends. I'm glad you had a great time. I'm sorry you didn't get to meet Trump, but it just gives you something to look forward to. Next time, maybe you'll be at the White House meeting Trump, something like that. But a great story. I'm glad you went. I'm sorry that you're not talking to each other for the last few days, but I hope that remedies itself and everything gets back to normal, because we must remember normal.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you so much. And one thing I did want to say before you let me go, I know you're busy. I did meet some people there, and they asked me if I could plug their website. It's stophumantrafficking.com. They're doing a lot of stuff to get laws passed to make prostitution and stuff a felony, to stop some of this human trafficking. So if I could do that, I guess I just did it. But thank you. If you guys want to go check that out, stophumantrafficking.com. It's some people I met there, and they're working against the human trafficking that we're trying to get stopped, at the border with all this stuff. So thank you again for taking my call, Chris. I appreciate it. And thanks for what you do. And take care of yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, John. God bless you. And I hope that all works out very well. And Stop Human Trafficking. See, that's how you know it's a conservative gathering. If it were a liberal gathering, their website would be enjoyhumantrafficking.com. See, that'd be, or maybe .org, because they like to slip orgs in there whenever they can. Isn't that amazing? Womp, womp, womp. I'm telling you. Man, oh, Manischewitz. All right, let's get back to some audio here. Let's go to soundbite number 5. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, Cinco. That's numero cinco, as the Democrat Party says. And we got that crazy bishop, too. I know we get it, that crazy. She's a nut, that one. She should be disbarred. I know, she's not. Defrocked. That's what she's not a lawyer, as far as I know. All right, so let's get to number 5. President Trump talking to Sean Hannity on the Fox News channel last night in his interview from the Oval Office, and great stuff. And President Trump talking about the Democrats, the left, all the mayhem, the pandemonium that they cause.
The radical left, their philosophies and policies are horrible. They don't work. You look at crime, you look at what's gone on at the border, you look at what's going to happen to crime. I mean, the crime that's going to happen, but I think we got there just in the nick of time.
Just in the nick, I'm telling you, because the Democrats love crime, more crime, Venezuelan gangs and all that good stuff. President Trump talking about making things better.
They're all solvable problems.
I agree.
They're all solvable.
Not easy.
With time, effort, money, unfortunately. But they're all solvable problems. We can get our country back. But if we didn't win this race, I really believe our country would have been lost forever.
Lost forever, lost and gone forever. I'm telling you, President Trump on the Democrats, they're not real good at government or any of that.
I think one thing is happening is people are learning that they can't govern and that their policies are terrible. I mean, they don't want to see a woman get pummeled by a man in a boxing ring.
No.
They don't want to see men in women's sports in other ways. They don't want to see them, and they don't want to have transgender for everyone. They don't want a child leave home as a boy and come back 2 days later as a girl. A parent doesn't want to see that. And there are states where that can happen.
And a ridiculous bishop at the Washington National Cathedral the other day was advocating for transgendering school children, which means she should be nowhere near a school. And the National Cathedral, I believe there are 3 schools. And if you count the college where they train pastors, 4 schools, but 3 schools for kids on the grounds of the National Cathedral. And she technically is in charge of them. She should be pulled away from them. President Trump, common sense isn't.
They fight us on things. It's incredible. They don't use common sense. In my opinion, the Democrats don't use common sense.
And common sense won the day in the election.
Common sense won the day. Remember normal. Common sense isn't. And it is time to bring back common sense. Let's restore common sense. I think that would be very nice. And President Trump on the border. Now, they're talking about sending 1,500 U.S. troops to the border to help with operations there. The Biden people have already sent 2,500 troops. That was not a news story. That was fine because the news media is so corrupt. They're like Andrea Mitchell. Andrea Mitchell doesn't say, but CIA Director Brennan, the laptop that you said had all the earmarks, not hallmarks, of Russian disinformation, you say just a Russian information operation, was proven to be real, and all the reporting from the New York Post was proven to be real. Andrea Mitchell didn't say that. So she either doesn't know that, which would mean she's profoundly ignorant, or she knew it but didn't ask it because she's profoundly corrupt. Those are the only 2 possibilities. President Trump on the border.
This was a gross miscarriage of common sense to allow people to come in. And I believe the number is 21 million people, and a large percentage of them are criminals all over the world. This is not just South America. This isn't, we talk Venezuela. That's a big abuser. But these are countries from
Iran,
the
Syria?
Congo, countries that you don't even think of. The Congo has emptied their prisons out into the United States. We're not thinking about the Congo. We're thinking about South America. It's much more than South America.
Well, and we played the audio a little while ago of the Haitian who might eat dogs and cats. I don't know for sure. He might be a voodoo guy. Screaming, beep, Donald Trump, but he's thanking Joe Biden. And now the guy's been arrested 17 times since coming in illegally.
I'm not going back to Haiti. Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
Thank Obama, Biden forever, and beep Trump, I'm not going back to Haiti. He's one of the people that made it the lovely country that it is. Maybe he's a cannibal gang member with maybe barbecues his buddy. Forget about eating cats and dogs. Let's get down to the people. Yum, yum. Now, President Trump from the White House today is speaking, thanks to the patriarchy, on a Zoom call to the communists in Davos, the billionaire communists in Davos, the Davos conspiracy. And President Trump had some choice words for him. He's great. And how long did he speak for? Like an hour or something to the people in Davos, talking about a revolution in the name of common sense.
What the world has witnessed in the past 72 hours is nothing less than a revolution of common sense. Our country will soon be stronger, wealthier, and more united than ever before, and the entire planet will be more peaceful and prosperous as a result of this incredible momentum and what we're doing and going to do.
And now, this is my favorite part. After cajoling and urging our NATO allies to pay the required 2% of their GDP, now President Trump is starting a new negotiation, upping the ante.
I'm also going to ask all NATO nations to increase defense spending to 5% of GDP, which is what it should have been years ago. It was only at 2%, and most nations didn't pay until I came along. I insisted that they pay, and they did, because the United States was really paying the difference at that time, and it was unfair to the United States. But many, many things have been unfair for many years to the United States.
That's a fact, and the left is fine with that. Oh, we're the richest country in the world. Yeah, we're like $100 trillion in debt. By the way, my friend Brent Bozell, who was on the radio show the other day, has been tapped by President Trump to head up as the CEO of the U.S. Agency for Global Media. And Brent Bozell, one of the great media watchdogs in the history of media watchdogs, Media Research Center and Newsbusters. And NBC News is naturally attacking him with the headline, Trump picks father of convicted January 6th rioter to serve as CEO of U.S. Agency for Global Media. Brent Bozell will do a great job. Now, if I remember correctly, the Democrats picked the father of a convicted crackhead who was thrown out of the U.S. Navy, who knocked up a stripper and dated Russian hookers and violated the FARA Act all over the place, to be president of the United States. And that was okay.